Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life Worth Reading. And welcome to a new reading vlog. Today's Friday, the 16th of February, and this was actually supposed to be like a 24-hour readathon. I was supposed to just stay home and read all day and film it, but my plans kind of went out the window. I had to do a lot of chores in the morning. Like Fridays are like my get your shit together days, and I had to study for a little bit, and then lunch rolled around, and then all of a sudden it was like 4 p.m. already, and I was like, okay, this is not turning out to be the 24-hour readathon I hoped it would be. So it's going to be a weekend readathon instead. It's going to be like a cozy weekend reading vlog where I just read what will hopefully be a good amount of books. So let's talk about my TBR. My first and the main goal of this like weekend reading vlog is for me to finish Black Cake by Tremaine Wilkerson. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Mafalda. We're both really enjoying this book. I'm currently halfway through. I have a little bit over halfway through. I have maybe like 170 pages left, more or less. So I am getting closer to the end of this book, and this book is about our two it has a lot of main characters, so I probably shouldn't use the term main character, but this book is about a matriarch of this family, Eleanor Bennett, and she has just recently passed away, and her two children, Benny and Byron, discovered that there's this whole tape of her telling her life story, and it's all centered around this black cake, which is very popular and very traditional in the Caribbean culture. And so they are with this lawyer who was with Eleanor when she recorded her entire life history. And so they are uncovering a lot of family secrets, but it's like posthumously. It's after their mother's death, and they are kind of strained. They have been drifting apart over the last couple of years due to their own reasons, and so now they must come together to hear this life story. There's a lot of like twists and turns, and nothing is as it seems, and it's very like drama oriented in that way, which I love. I love a good family drama. I will say that I'm reading the translation, and I feel like I'm kind of missing out on some beautiful writing. I am really enjoying this, but the translation is very matter of fact. It's very straightforward, and I feel like if I were reading the original version, I feel like the writing would be much more poetic, maybe. Like, it would just flow better, because here it's just like very like straightforward. But I am reading the library version because I just can't be buying books left and right. So this is a book that I did want to get to, and so I am reading it from my library, even though I feel like it's hindering my enjoyment just a little bit. But yeah, the main goal for this weekend is to finish this. I am buddy reading this with Mafalda, but I have so many books to get to this month that this is just like, it needs to happen. And after that, I have another book that is on my physical TBR for this month. These are all books on my physical TBR, thankfully. And the goal of this readathon as well is to read books by Black authors, because it is Black History Month in the US, not here. We do not celebrate it like directly like that. But I did want to pay homage to a lot of the books on my physical TBR that are by Black authors that I've been so excited to get to, and I thought that this weekend would be like a good opportunity to do so. So the other book, if you've seen my February TBR, is Gingerbread by Ellen Oyeyemi. This is a book about a mother and daughter as well, but it's like an homage to like childhood fantasy stories about like the place that gingerbread has in this like folkloric tales for children, like Hansel and Gretel and such. And so I think that one of them comes from this magical land that maybe does or does not exist, and in real life they bake this gingerbread that supposedly has like all these magical powers to it, maybe. And I was very intrigued by this book ever since I heard about it. It's not a very long read, which is pretty great for me. It's like 250 pages, which is ideal for like a weekend readathon. And here we have our author. There she is, absolutely slaying. And I think, yeah, she's from Britain. And I have heard a lot about this author's books. This actually has a really low rating on Goodreads, but I'm not going to let that derail me. I've been eyeing this book for so long. I've been thinking about buying this book for so long, and then I finally did. So I'm really not going to let that low rating get to me. This will be good because I think it'll be good, and because I'm manifesting that this will be good. So it will be. So those are the two books like that I was already planning on reading this month. And then here I have 4 that I was just like, okay, I'm really interested in all these books. We'll see which ones happen, we'll see which ones don't, like we'll figure it out along the way. The first one that I have is Season of Shadow by Leonora Miano, and this is actually an author that is from the Cameroon, or is it the Cameroon? I don't know. She's from Cameroon, but she does live in France, and so this book is translated to Portuguese from French. There is an English version as well, so if I do enjoy this book, or even if I don't, you can read it. It is translated to English, and it's called Season of Shadow, and this is set in the heart of Africa, it says. And it's like this tribe, and mysteriously there's a fire, and 12 men disappear mysteriously. And it's basically just about that. It's about the life in this tribe, and I think that I don't know, I just love this edition of this book. And I have started it, like one time I got this from the library, and then I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this book, so I'm going to buy it for myself. And then I bought it at the Lisbon Book Fair, and now I just need to get back into it because I was really enjoying the writing. And this is also 230 pages, which is nice. It also has like a glossary at the end with like terms, so that's really fun as well. We can learn a lot about just another dialect, which I really enjoy. And so this is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, but I have a few other options. Of course, you couldn't, this could not be here. Nightcrawling by the Motley. I have been enamored by this book for so long. I have read the first chapter in last month's Try a Chapter vlog. I was really enjoying it, but it is on a little bit of the longer side. It is like 400 pages. Oh no, it's not. It's less than 300. Why did I think this is 400 pages? I swear I thought this was 400 pages. Okay, well that helps it out. And this book is about our main character Kiara and her brother Marcus, and they are living alone, and they are struggling by, and so Kiara starts night crawling and selling information to the police, and I think that she's just in the midst of a lot of bad things. And so I thought that this was so interesting. The first chapter really spoke out to me, and so I really want to read this, and we'll see if I get to it in this weekend's reading vlog. And then the two others are they the only two? Am I lying to you? I don't think I'm lying to you. These are the only two straightforward romance books that I own, and they're both by Black authors because, I don't know, I'm just very intrigued by these books. And the first one that we have is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Now, I'm not a romance girly. You know this if you've been on my channel before. But these are two books that I feel like I want to give a try because I feel like they'll do what some romance books have done to me before. Like Talia Hibbert's books I adored. I also really love People Going on Vacation. Obviously that's by Emily Henry. But I do believe that these two books could give me like the romance feels. And so this book is about our two main characters who have been away for several years, but they're both writers, and they both realize that they've been writing about each other, and they're like, it's just so cute. And it's like a second chance romance. And I don't know, I just feel like I could enjoy this one. And this is 325 pages, so not that long at all as well. And I feel like I'm going to try the first chapter of both of these romance books and then see if I feel like it, because it was just Valentine's Day. I'm feeling romantic, and I feel like I want to give this a try, even though that this is more of a summer read. But we'll see. And the last one that I have here is Honey and Spice by Baloo Babalola. My friend Bia got me this for Christmas. You know what you did. Like, this is so kind. And I trust Baloo Babalola with my life, even though I haven't read a book by this author. I really wanted to read Love in Color. I never got to it. I never got it physically. I still really want to read it. And I thought to myself, I don't know, if there's one person that can make me enjoy romance, I think it'll be this author. Also, Kayla from Books and Lala doesn't like romance as well, and she loved this one. She said it was like one of the best ones that she's ever read. Like, she really connected to it, and I was just like, I'm listening. I'm very much listening. And this is about our main characters, Kiki and Malachi. And I think it's like about a radio show. It's like a fake dating kind of thing. And I feel like I could really enjoy this one. The only detriment is that it is the longest one on here. It's like 400 and almost 50 pages. So like, that's a lot for a romance book, and that's a lot for like a weekend read. But maybe because it is a romance, I can read it a little bit faster. I don't know, we'll see. These are all the books that I have like on a possibility pile. These two I'm definitely getting to because I need to finish Black Cake and Gingerbread, which are both like about desserts, which is interesting. So there's a theme here. So this year I'll definitely finish. And then we have some of this to start, to see how I feel about them. But we have a lot of good options. And I feel like this will be a very successful weekend reading vlog, at least in the books, because these are all books from my physical TBR, which is a win. A win is a win, you know, a win is a win is a win. And trying to get books off my physical TBR has been something that I have been planning on doing, but haven't been doing enough of. So these are all the books that I could read this weekend, and we'll just stay tuned. Right now, I am going to continue on with Black Cake. I'm going to read for a little bit, hopefully get to like page almost 300 or something. And then I'll check in with you. I'll explain more about what's going on, even though I can't, because there's a lot to this book. We're following a lot of different perspectives over different times and such, and I really don't want to spoil this book. But yeah, welcome to this reading vlog. We'll hopefully have a nice time, and we're going to start reading. Oh, also I'm going to time how much I read, because I think that's going to be interesting to see how much I get done in 3 days. So yeah, let's start. Hello, I am back with my update. I have read now for about like an hour and 15, but with a break, of course. And I am up to page 330, so I've read like 100 pages of Black Cake, and I only have like 70 pages left, maybe 60 pages left. But unfortunately, I really wanted to finish this tonight. But in an exciting turn of events, I'm actually going to a concert with a friend of mine, which is really exciting because I don't usually have a lot going on the weekends, but I'm really excited. It's an artist that I really love. I've already seen him live, I think once or twice before, but I really enjoy the music. It's really calm and just beautiful. And so I'm about to go have dinner, and then I'm gonna head out. I'm not going to be back super late because I've been going to bed really early, but unfortunately I don't think that I can finish this tonight, but I will definitely finish it tomorrow morning. Because yeah, I just have a little bit left. I'm really enjoying it still. It's not like a favorite, I would say. It's I don't feel like it's going to be a 5-star, but I am having a good time. I just don't feel as connected to the characters, but I really do think it's because of the writing and the translation. And yeah, that's my only complaint, I would say. It's just, it feels very straightforward. I wish we had a little bit more of a fluff to it. I wish it was a little bit more poetic, but I really do think it is a translation. Other than that, I really love our characters. Sometimes we're introduced to, chapters are also really short, but sometimes we are introduced to like characters and you're like, who the hell are you? Like, where are we? Who are we dealing with? And then when you do find out, it is really interesting. The way that this author just weaves together really different stories and really different characters. And I feel like it is quite interesting. So I am really enjoying it, but I don't feel like it's going to be a favorite. So yeah, but I'm definitely going to finish it tomorrow morning, and I'm really excited to see how it all ends. Because I don't know if we're still going to have a lot more twists and turns. Like, I don't know. But I am really excited. So I will film a little bit tonight, and then I will check in probably tomorrow morning. Good morning, friends. As you've seen in the clips, I went to the concert yesterday, which was really nice. I really enjoyed it. It was a very cozy concert, very intimate, and I had a great time. And this morning I have just finished Black Cake. As you've seen me read, I put my timer on, but I only remembered to do so a little bit after I started reading. So I think I read for like about 30 to like 40 minutes, and I am up to 1 hour and 46, and so I have now finished Black Cake. I guess I have to sit a little bit with my thoughts, but I don't know. I think I'm like in between like a 3.5 and like a 4-star. I just felt like I wish the story was a little bit more connected. I love short chapters and all of that, but at the same time it felt a little bit scattered, you know, like the trains of thought and the ideas, we were just jumping from idea to idea, from character to character. And I feel like because of that, I struggled to create an emotional relationship with these characters. And towards the end, when we were getting a lot of new reveals and a lot of different things, it was just a little bit too fast and a little bit too jumbled together. And that's why I didn't enjoy it as much. I think that I much prefer smaller cast of characters and really developing them and just like following more of a linear story. And this was just like vignettes. And I don't think that because of that, I didn't enjoy it as much, because I feel like this types of like family drama books and very like character focused books really benefit from the reader having a connection with the characters and developing that emotional relationship with the characters. And because we were like constantly just jumping around, and just sometimes there would be like certain, not really like a reveal, like a plot twist, but sometimes we would get to know something about a character or something that they went through, but it was just like so fast that I couldn't really process what had happened and what this meant for that character. Especially in regards to Benny, one of the children, and also Byron. Like, there were some things about their lives, because we were so focused on the past, and sometimes when we were in the present and they are dealing with certain things, I'm just like, this is too fast. Like, I feel like this is really important for this character, and this is something that's maybe definitely not a positive thing for this character. Why are we not spending more time knowing about how this happened, how this influenced them, Also, in terms of timeline, I got a little bit confused towards the end because there are like a lot of characters being reunited, but I was like, when is this happening? How old are these characters? Like, could they still be alive? It was just a little bit confusing, I thought. In that sense, not really like confusing, but just in terms of timeline, I was just a little bit all over the place. So I think it'll be more of like a 3.5. I still think I would have benefited from reading the original version, but yeah, just like the constant jumping around really made me not connect a lot to these characters, and I feel like that's what I really needed to really love this book, you know? Like, I enjoyed it, but I really needed to have more of a connection with them in order to really love this book. So yeah, today is Saturday. I am going out a little bit with friends in the afternoon, which is really like, I guess I'm having like a good weekend because I don't really like to talk about this, but I don't have a lot of friends, and the friends that I do have, unfortunately, are distant from me, and so I don't get to see them a lot. And actually this weekend is just like, it's kind of all happening at the same time. And so yesterday I went to the concert with a friend, and today I'm also hanging out with some other friends that I haven't seen in a couple of months. And so maybe it was not the best weekend to actually make this reading vlog. There are a lot of weekends where I just stay home all weekend. So maybe this is not the best idea, but we're still going to try it out. And the next book that I'm going to be reading, oh my god, it's way over there, but it's Gingerbread. I'm going to be starting Gingerbread. I'm going to try to read the most that I can today. It's less than 300 pages, so I think I can read a lot of it. And then I will also update my reading journal, and I'll show you my February spread, which I haven't talked about yet. And yeah, I'm excited to have finished the book for my February TBR. I've only read 3 books this month, and we're like halfway through the month. But I don't know, I don't know what's happening, because I feel like I'm reading a lot every day, and then it's just like it's not translating well to finishing books. Like, I don't know what's going on. I read a lot, but I'm just not finishing books. I don't understand this concept, but anyway, let's go update my reading journal and then start Gingerbread. Okay, just a very small update for tonight. Today was a really great day. I hung out with my friends in the afternoon who I haven't seen in a long time, and we just had like a really nice conversation. But what ended up happening was that when I got home, I had dinner, and then I kind of forgot that tonight was the MasterChef finale. It was the final episode of MasterChef. I've been watching it for like 3 months now, so it's very emotional for me. I cried a lot, but I cry a lot at a lot of things. I'm a very I am so easy to cry. Like, it's ridiculous, kind of. But yeah, that was like 3 hours of my life. What that means literally is that I didn't have time to read, and I'm way too tired now. I would rather go to bed and then wake up fresh and read Gingerbread. But yeah, I'm really sorry that I haven't read more today. I was really excited for this to be like a reading weekend, and it's what I said. Maybe it was not the best weekend for me to do this thing. Doesn't mean it won't happen again, but it just maybe wasn't the best time. But I did have a good day, and I did watch the finale, and the person that I wanted to win won, which is really gratifying because I've just been rooting for them since the start. So that's kind of my day. I had a good day. I'm off to bed now. And tomorrow when I'm fresh, I'll start Gingerbread, hopefully finish it. and I'll tell you all my thoughts about it tomorrow. But yeah, we're already one book down, which is great. That was one of my goals, was to finish Black Cake, and we did it. So I'm going to bed happier tonight. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Hi, I'm on my balcony right now, and I'm about to start reading Gingerbread. It is a beautiful day, and I'm really excited to be here, to be alive, and to just be reading my books. So let's start. I do not come bearing good news, I don't think. I've just read the first chapter of Gingerbread, which was like 20 pages, and the way I did not understand a single thing of what was going on. The writing is so confusing. I am so lost. Legitimately, I don't know what just happened. We are introduced to our main characters, who are family. We have Harriet, we have Perdita, her daughter, and we have Harriet's mother, so Perdita's grandmother, who is called, I forgot, Margot, that's her name. So we are introduced to these three women and introduced to the concept of their gingerbread. But I'm just so confused. Like, the writing style was not really easy to understand at all. And I'm struggling a little bit because this is a book that I have been really excited to read for years now. And I hope that it gets easier to understand, because it would be a bummer if I didn't enjoy this book. I had really high hopes for this book, even though that the rating is really, really low on Goodreads. But I went into this hoping that I would love it. Like, I've just kind of ignored the Goodreads rating. Like, I don't care. This is going to be a book for me. Well, let's find out, because so far it's a little bit confusing, but I'll read more today and then I'll tell you some updates later. I'm going out in a little bit just to enjoy the sun with my boyfriend, and then I'll come back and I'll keep reading, because yeah, this isn't off to a great start, but I think we can still turn this around. It's always just me in my room with my emotional support sweater, but I come bearing good news and bad news. The good news is that I had a great afternoon. As you saw, I went to watch the ocean, which was really nice. It was a beautiful day, and I ate ice cream. I just had a really great time. But then I went to some of my favorite bookshops. I've only been there one time because for my own sake, I simply cannot go there. The last time that I went was like September, and now I was back and I went to one of my favorite secondhand bookshops here, and it's just so great. And it's also one of those where they're all volunteers and all the money is donated to like an association, like a nonprofit. So I just always feel like, oh, it's okay to buy books because one, they're so cheap, and two, the money that I am giving is for a good cause. What happened was this. So let's talk about this. I shouldn't have done this. I really shouldn't have done this. We're going to start with the least interesting book for all of you, which is this one. This is called Uma Abelha na Chuva, which is like a bee in the rain, by a Portuguese author. And I have studied this author last semester in a Portuguese literature class. I was reading one of his books. If you remember, I mentioned it in a couple of vlogs back then. And this is one of his other books. And I just loved this edition. It's like a really small, like hardback. And the print is absolutely ginormous. And this is just a book that ever since I studied this author, I wanted to read, because it's from the like neo-realism movement, like literary movement here. And he's like very communist writing, which I find to be very interesting. And so I have never seen this edition before. Usually you only see like really kind of older introductions, older editions I mean, because this book is quite old. This book is from like the 40s, I think, but this specific edition is from 1986, and I've never seen it, and I thought it was just so pretty. And it also has a really, really big introduction, which I really, really like. I love when we have like a big introduction to introduce me to what this book means and its significance. So all of this is like the introduction and the preface, which I really enjoy, and I find it to be very interesting. So that's the first one that I got, the least interesting to you. And then I also got Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. This is a book that I've been hearing about for a long time now. Oh my god, my bangs. And this book is about a character whose name I don't remember. Yeah, it just says a woman. And it's set in the 19th century in Iceland, and she is condemned to death for murdering her lover, her husband. And so she's sentenced to death, and she has to stay with the family until the execution date, and there's a priest that's trying to absolve her. I've heard that it's very sad, but I've also heard that the writing is really, really good, that the setting, like the snowy setting, really translates well into writing, and I think that to be very interesting. So I've heard a lot about this book, and it's one of those that I never would have gotten to if I didn't own it. And so when I just saw it, I was just like, okay, let's do it. Like, and also it's not that hideous. Like, it could be worse, you know. Sometimes it's older fiction books can be really ugly, but this is not that bad, you know, like this is not that bad. And then the last one that I got, I was like, this was an impulse purchase for sure, but it's just like so shiny and new, and it's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. This is a trilogy, a sci-fi trilogy. I've heard a lot about this. It has a movie, and I have no idea what this is about. I just know that it's science fiction, but I went on Goodreads, and a lot of people that I follow have given this great ratings. Mary from Books with Avocado has just given it 5 stars like a week ago, and yeah, it was just like €4, and like it's so like aesthetically pleasing. I don't know, I just love it. So these are all the books that I did get. I shouldn't have done this. I really shouldn't have done this, but I did. Tomorrow I'm going to update my reading journal, because I'm tracking all the books that I'm buying and the money that I'm spending. And because of this year I have bought 5 books, but one of them is a book that I've already read. Actually, it hasn't arrived yet. I bought it secondhand on like Facebook and it hasn't arrived yet, which is upsetting. But I've bought 5 books, but only 4 of them are going on my actual TBR, because you won't, the other one I have read, I only want to reread, but that's not really like TBR. So that's what I did. But I had a great time, okay? I had a great time. And now I'm just going to read Gingerbread, try to figure out if I am understanding this, if I'm enjoying this, because I'm kind of worried, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just going to read a chunk of it now, and I'll tell you later how I'm feeling about it, because yeah, like, not off to a great start, but I am optimistic. Okay, I'm back with my last update for this weekend. I'm going to continue the vlog on tomorrow. Like, this was just supposed to be a one-day vlog, and now we're just running with it, because I haven't read enough to finish the vlog here, but I have read 50 pages of Gingerbread. I know it's not a lot, it ain't much, but it's honest work, okay? It's honest work. And thankfully I am enjoying it much more. I am understanding it a lot more. Basically, as I mentioned, this book is about more like mother and daughter relationship. We have Harriet, and then we have Perdita, and supposedly her mother bakes this kind of seemingly maybe magical gingerbread, and there's this talk of a land called, it's like a fantasy name, like I cannot pronounce this, Druhastrana. It's like this fantasy land, maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't, where we get the realization that Harriet has been there. Maybe she has spent her youth there, and Perdita finds out, and Perdita tries to go there as well. And it's like, it's the whole thing. I'm not really understanding the process of going there, but basically it doesn't go very well for Perdita, and she ends up in the hospital, and now she's at home recovering. We're only like 50 pages in, so it's really just the beginning. I don't think that this really counts as a spoiler. And so we're at home recovering, and Harriet is about to tell Perdita about this land and where she comes from. And supposedly Harriet had this imaginary friend called Gretel, and it's like the whole Hansel and Gretel thing. So we are actually about to get into the history of this fantasy land and how Harriet came to be there and how she left. I don't really know, but I am understanding it better, and I am liking it that in the midst of this kind of fantastical thing, we also have a lot about just society in general. Harriet is a working, apparently single mother, and she is trying her hardest to be social, but she feels somewhat rejected by people. For example, we have a lot of talk of the other parents of Perdita's school and the way that they kind of treat her, and like she doesn't really have any friends. And so it mentions in the synopsis that it seems like Harriet Lee may seem just a working mother trying to penetrate the school social hierarchy. So she's trying her hardest to be taken seriously, but a lot of the parents are not doing that. And so I am enjoying the commentary, because this is also about what it means to be Black in Britain. So there's those undertones in here for sure, and I'm excited to see how that mixes in with the fantastical elements. So I'm about to go to bed. Tomorrow it's a busy day. I'm going to school, and then I have my internship, but I'm hoping that I'll read at least until page 100 in the morning, and I'll let you know how it's going. I want to read, like, ideally I would finish this tomorrow, but I don't know if I can, but I'll try my hardest. And yeah, I had a really great day. I'm enjoying this much more than I was in the first chapter. I was really confused. The writing was very snippy, and it like moved a little bit too fast, but I am understanding it more, and I am enjoying it more. So that's exciting, and I hope that you have a good night, even though you are literally about to watch this transition in like a second. But I am going to bed, so I will see you tomorrow, and I hope that you are well. Friends, what a day. Honestly, I'm so much more tired than I thought it would be, and it was such a harder day than I thought it would be. But anyway, in this morning I read a little bit and then I went to university and then I came back home and then immediately left for my internship, which ended much later than I thought. I got home at dinner time, so I had dinner and then I just read for a little bit, and I am now up to page 107 of Gingerbread. And yeah, like, this video is just not going according to plan at all. I thought that this would be a much easier read than it is. I thought it would be like more of a contemporary with some maybe magical elements to it, a little bit of fantasy, but I really thought it would be kind of a simpler story, and I thought it'd be easier to read. But it's actually taken me a lot of like brain power to read this. It is a little bit confusing. I am understanding it more and more. We are still in the past of Perdita's mother. We are in Druhastrana, the city, and it's very strange because it combines all of this very modern elements like documentaries and stuff like that with just some other very strange, not based in reality at all. But basically we are following Harriet, Perdita's mother, as she is a teenager in this land, and she befriends maybe this strange character that is Gretel, and no one really knows what she's about. Is she good? Is she bad? It's kind of murky in that sense. And then now we are getting a lot of commentary also on capitalism and the inner workings of production. So that's interesting. That's an interesting aspect of this book that I did not expect going in. They have now collected, there's a lot of different characters in this that I am not going to mention because I don't feel like they are as important as our main characters, but they are like kind of like collecting these girls to work in this gingerbread factory, and they're called like the Gingerbread Girls, and it's all very strange. The way that it works, it's all very strange. Like, people go there and I don't know, they like all live together and they're like away from their families. It has just a lot of commentary also about, yeah, like capitalism, economy, and I wasn't expecting that, but it's being well received by me. I am enjoying it a little bit more, but yeah, like, it's not the easy breezy read I thought it would be. So it's taking me a long time to read this. Like, I was supposed to end this vlog today. Like, I was supposed to end this vlog, who am I kidding, like a few days ago. But I want to keep going just because I do want to give you at least a review for Gingerbread, right? Like, at least I want to give you the review for this one. So I think that I might, tomorrow I'm not going to film barely anything because I have school all day, like from like 9 to 5. But at 5 I am coming back home, so I am going to work on reading this, also on editing this vlog, because my goal was to upload it on Wednesdays because I have been uploading my videos on Wednesdays, but we'll see if that happens or not. You'll know if that has happened or not. But yeah, like, I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit confusing. I'm not hating it. I'm just, yeah, it's not like the easy breezy book I thought it would be for like a reading fast for a vlog kind of thing. But it's a book off my TBR, so at least we're getting something done, right? Right. I am off to bed now. Again, I am a grandma. Tomorrow I'm waking up super early, so it's bye-bye night-night for me. And I will see you tomorrow with hopefully something good to say, because yeah, like, I still have a long way to go. I have like 150 pages to go. So we'll see how much I can do tomorrow. Hi friends, I'm here to give you my final thoughts on Gingerbread and also to just wrap up this vlog. But yeah, at first I want to talk about this book because I have finally finished Gingerbread. I had a really long week. Okay, I had a really long week, very stressful week, and what, as you might have seen, what was supposed to be a 24-hour readathon, or like a kind of a weekend readathon, turned into like a whole week reading vlog. And so I have only now finished Gingerbread. But also, let me just start out by saying that I was completely bamboozled because my edition is 258 pages, right? So I really thought that this was like a quicker read, and I was like, why is this taking me so long to read? But when I went on Goodreads, I saw that a standard edition of this book is 372 pages, so almost 400 pages, which means that this is just different because of the format. I don't know if it's because it's a hardback versus a paperback. I don't know what it is, but I was bamboozled. Okay, this book is much longer than I originally thought, which is why it also took me a little bit longer to read. But my final thoughts, I don't know if I can give you like an actual rating at the moment. I think that it's like a 3.5, more of like a, I don't know, I just have to sit with it. But I do want to talk about it because I feel like this book was really, really interesting. I don't really understand like how low the rating is. I don't quite get it because I definitely don't feel that way about this book. I liked it, which is great because I've been thinking about reading this book for a long time, and the fact that I did like it is very affirming to me. Maybe I didn't like as much as I thought I would, but honestly it was a very, very interesting book, and I'm very glad that I read it. The last time that I gave you an update about this book, we were on Harriet's, so Perdita's mother, like whole journey in this land, Druhashna, something like that. And that was definitely the strangest part about this book, this fantasy land. And I really hate how long it took me to actually understand what this book is about. Only when Harriet and her mother Margot managed to leave Druhashna and come to England did I realize that honestly this book is just like a giant metaphor for immigration and the struggles of being an immigrant, especially a black immigrant in this specific case, England. And I hate that it took me that long to figure it out, but I definitely wasn't thinking about that. Like I was thinking about the fairy tale, the fantasy land, and then when they actually do leave and they come to England, which is where Perdita is at the beginning of the story, I just understood because they were like kind of guided by this family called the Kershvallas, something like that. And they kind of like adopted Harriet and Margot, and it was like their good deed of the year was like adopting them and taking care of them and all of that. And so it felt very like they come from this fantasy land and they don't fit in where they are, and it's like a good deed to help them out. And so yeah, I hate how long it took me to figure that out, but once I figured that out, like I saw this book in a completely different light. And though there are still a lot of things that I don't understand, I think there are a lot of under the hood things that I don't really understand. I think that there's a lot more to this book than what I read at like a first glance, and then that's why I have to sit with it a little bit more. But I thought that it was such an interesting approach to that idea and to that topic. And so we hear all about Harriet's youth when she does come to England, what she does, the family drama in between them. There were a little bit too many characters in that family to follow. I was a little bit confused sometimes, but honestly I just had a really great time. And yeah, there are some things that I still don't understand, like about Gretel and all of that, but I just thought that this was really well done in its confusing state. I think that that's what the author really meant to do, and that's why I can't hate this book, because even though I didn't understand everything completely, I have a pretty good idea of what I think the author meant, and that means a lot to me. When I do understand where the author is coming from is really important to me, and I feel like, maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but I feel like I understood where she was coming from. And there were some passages that I underlined only with a pencil, because I don't usually underline my books, but I did underline it. And yeah, like I had a much better time with this than I initially thought, especially because the first chapters were a little bit confusing, but I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. And I really don't understand like the ultimate hate to this book. Like it has a really, really low rating. I don't understand why, even though my rating is not like flashy and amazing. I think that this is a good book. I do think that. With that being said, this was an okay reading week for me. I finished 2 books that were on my TBR, which is great. I feel like, honestly, this might be controversial, but I feel like I'm getting better with my TBRs. Like, I used to put 10 books and not even touch that list with a 10-foot pole, but I'm getting better at sticking to my TBR, which I'm really excited about. And I think that the more that I grow into my reading taste, the more I realize that maybe I'm not really a mood reader at all. and I think that I'm enjoying being list oriented. And so these two books were on my February TBR. Two books by Black authors that I really wanted to get to for a long time. Two books about desserts, strangely, but about so much more than that. And I enjoy them, I wouldn't say equally, but in different ways. You know what I mean? I just really liked where both of these books went, but they weren't perfect reads in my opinion. And I think that actually Gingerbread has left me with more to think about than Black Cake. I feel like Black Cake was a little bit more straightforward, which might be more appealing to you as a reader. But I do enjoy, like, that I keep thinking about this book, and I feel like I'm going to keep thinking about this book because I feel like the longer that I think about it, the more I'm going to tie in certain things that happened with just ways of thinking, and I think that that's really interesting. But yes, I finished these two books, and yeah, I'm excited for my next reading vlog. Hopefully it'll go better than this one. And I'm really sorry about the whole confusing thing about this is a 24-hour readathon. Actually, this is a weekend readathon. Actually, this is a weekly normal reading vlog. I'm really sorry about that, but it's just where we're at. I've been a little bit stressed, and it's just where we're at the moment. But with that being said, I hope that you did enjoy this video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and always remember that life is worth reading.